afternoon. My name is Michael Banks, and I'm the Chief of the United States Border Patrol. We appreciate you guys coming out here today to take a look at what we're doing on the next step of border security and our layered approach. What you're going to see today is the border buoy barriers, which we are putting right on the international boundary line in order to decrease that traffic. We tested these in Texas. We know they're very effective. What you see today looks a little bit different than what Texas placed. We've gone with a new improved addition. We continue to get better as we secure this border. We are seeing unprecedented decrease in traffic on the southern border, across the northern border as well, and it's clearly because of the policies and the support we're getting from President Trump and Secretary Noem. I want to take a few minutes to introduce you to Paul Perez. He is the president of the National Border Patrol Council. I'd like him to come up and say a few words. Mr. Perez.
Thank you, Chief. Glad to be here with the Secretary of Homeland Security. This is a great day for America, a great day for Texas, a great day for border security. So these buoy barriers are just one more tool in the arsenal that President Trump has allowed us to implement under the leadership of Secretary Noem. Chief Banks has a lot of experience. He knows exactly what we need. He's been an agent for a long time. Those of us that have worked the border, we know exactly what we need. And the good thing about this administration is they listen to the boots on the ground. They know what works. They know what's effective. We want to make sure that we never go through what we went through under the 4 years of President Biden. These changes that we're making to the posture of border security is something that will pay off dividends for the rest of this term and many more to come. So this is a lesson in how to secure a border. And President Trump has the right team in place to do so. And we thank Secretary Noem for coming out here today.
It's a great pleasure to introduce you to the Honorable Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And thank you to Chief Banks for everything that he is doing to continue to complete the work of securing our border and to protect this country. I also want to thank Paul for being here today. He always shows up not just for our agents, but for the American people and speaks truth to every single situation and challenge that this country faces. And I also want to thank the other individuals that are behind me. I also have Chief Jared Ashby, who's with me. He's the Chief Patrol Agent of the Rio Grande Valley Sector, and he's joining us as well. I think you've been on the job a couple of weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
2 weeks, and he's doing a great job. We still aren't letting any illegal aliens over that border in his sector. And we also have Colonel Robert Felicio of the Army National Guard with us. He currently serves as the brigade commander over Task Force Guardian, oversees almost 3,000 soldiers that are deployed to the border from Del Rio to Brownsville, Texas, right here. With him is Captain Muse, who's also serves alongside the Coast Guard, and we're grateful for their service and their operation down here at the border. As you know, not only do we have our Border Patrol each and every day securing our border, but they're doing that in cooperation with a partnership between the Department of War and also the Coast Guard that has deployed down here as a part of Operation Riverwall. We are continuing to put the American people first and to keep them safe. And we do that, first of all, by making sure that we're a nation of borders. We recognize, and President Trump recognizes, that a nation with no borders is no nation at all. And our laws need to be enforced. And that is a dramatic change, especially in this part of America down here at the southern border from what the Biden administration was enforcing. They ignored our laws, allowed an invasion of dangerous criminals, known and suspected terrorists to come into our country, and every day while we work to remove them, we are still focused on making sure that this border barrier is safe and that these families here are secure. This morning I met with several local farmers and ranchers, talked to them about the dramatic change that has impacted their lives over the last year. Before President Trump was in office at the end of 2024, they had an invasion going on their property. Their crops were being destroyed. They couldn't go out and take care of their land because of security reasons. They were carrying weapons to protect their families and their property, and they hoped that someone would care enough to come and help secure not just their livelihoods, but also the land that had been in their family for generations. Today, they told a very different story. They told a story of land that had essentially been given back to them, that now they could go out there and check their crops, work the ground safely, not be in fear of danger. They could go out and walk up and down their roads without the concern of being run over by cartel members moving their loads of dope across the border and into the United States. And they also told the stories and the memories of the horrific encounters that they had to deal with in their own home communities because of what Joe Biden was doing to this country. Joe Biden invited chaos into America in the form of the 4-year border crisis that has been unprecedented and broke a lot of what makes America great, and President Trump has been focused on putting it back together and making sure that Americans know that they have a leader that believes in them and wants to give them a chance at the American dream. Those ranchers that I spoke with and those farmers that I spoke with this morning, they're all Americans that agree that our country needs to be safe and needs to be secure, and they're grateful for President Trump's leadership. In 2025, daily illegal alien apprehensions at the southwest border have dropped by 95%. And for almost 10 months in a row, nearly a year, the Border Patrol has released 0 illegal aliens into our country. That is a record-setting amount of time period that we have had. And we have also seen 2.6 million illegal aliens removed from the United States of America. That includes almost 700,000 that have been arrested and deported and brought to justice, and then almost 2 million that have left voluntarily, because we sent a very clear message to the world that if you are in the United States illegally, go home now. If you wait until we detain you and deport you, you will never get the chance to come back and be a part of the American dream. The American people have a lot to celebrate in this historic year, but we have a lot more work to do. Even the most historic success does not mean that we can rest on all of our laurels. Innovation and improvement is important, and that's why today we're announcing the next steps to secure our border. The Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Customs and Border Protection are deploying over 500 miles of border barrier in the form of water barriers like you see behind us. These barriers were funded in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and that is long enough to stretch all the way from Washington, D.C. to Nashville, Tennessee. It's more than 130 miles of those barriers are already under contract, and they're getting ready to be deployed starting today. These barriers consist of floating buoys that are 4 to 5 feet in diameter and up to 15 feet long. The buoys that you see here today behind me are ones that are made right in America by a family-owned company down the road here in Texas. CBP is working closely with our state of Texas and the U.S. International Boundary and Waters Commission to make sure that the buoy barriers are installed properly and that they are going to last for many, many years to come. These barriers will make it much harder for illegal aliens, drug smugglers, and human traffickers to cross the river and other waterways where they will be deployed. They'll create a safer environment for agents on patrol. And securing our waterways not only protects Americans, it saves the lives of illegal aliens by deterring them from daring to attempt to cross through this treacherous water. Under Joe Biden, nearly 3,000 illegal aliens died attempting to cross into the United States, and an untold number of individuals drowned. Water crossings are the second highest cause of death for aliens crossing the border, with heat exhaustion being number 1. Things are so calm here now that it's easy to forget how bad things really were. In 2023, I want to remind you that the United Nations declared Biden's wide-open border barrier and border invasion the world's deadliest land migration route. Those barriers, and these ones behind me, are going to save our lives and going to save illegal alien lives. It will help stop the drug trafficking that's devastating our next generation of Americans, and it will also make sure that we're stopping the human trafficking that we've seen for so many years. Cartels now use drones to smuggle drugs as well, and other technology. We will continue to deploy technology to meet the challenges that we have in front of us. And as we continue to stop these smugglers, we're going to be working around the clock to stop the damage of the Biden administration. Joe Biden was complicit and culpable in the biggest child trafficking ring in all of human history. On his watch, more than 450,000 unaccompanied children were lost, or they were placed with unvetted sponsors at the southern border and were completely overwhelmed. So far, the Trump administration has found over 129,000 of these children, and we're going to continue to ramp up our efforts to make sure that every single one of them is accounted for, found, and returned to family and people who love them. President Trump's doing everything that he can to keep America safe. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Chief Banks, the state of Texas, our Border Patrol, and all the individuals that are out there making sure that our border not only continues to be safe and secure, but that we also are out there deploying technology to make sure that all Americans get the chance to live in America where they can get up in the morning and be excited about raising their kids and their grandkids in a country that is free. And with that, I'll turn it back over to any questions that you may have. Yes, right here. Absolutely. I'm going to let Chief Banks describe the technology and the advancement in the buoy barriers because he's worked extensively on the development of this device and with the company that will be under contract to provide many of these miles of barrier for us.
And so I believe what you're referring to in the barriers was the discs that were placed in between each of the barriers that the state of Texas put into place. Those discs were anti-tamper discs. What we did is as we developed it out, we've created a way to create the same anti-deterrence or anti-tampering deterrence without having the disc in there. And so the system still works the same as far as how it sits on a ratchet system. As you try to climb up onto the buoys, they roll backwards, preventing you from being able to climb on. And then we've also found that using the more cylindrical instead of the circular, we get better flotation, which helps us maintain better control of the buoys. So what we've done is we've, over the last year, improved the buoy system that was being placed in the river in Texas, under the state of Texas, and worked with these. But they function the exact same way.
Yes. So a couple of questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals. Not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars and put it in their pockets and enriched their friends from overseas and themselves, but also individuals who committed acts of murder and rape and trafficking and drug exploitation and child exploitation. So we're going to continue to do our work. And I want to remind everybody that the act like we saw today of using a vehicle to try to kill an officer and his colleagues and the other people around him is something that every politician, every elected official, everyone in this country should be able to rally around and say that it is wrong. And that sanctuary cities and sanctuary states that protect individuals who do that should no longer be allowed. That those individuals that are in leadership positions in these sanctuary jurisdictions need to work with us to make sure that every single person that's out there enforcing the law can be safe, but also so that all of our citizens can continue to be safe too. Domestic acts of terrorism like this will not stand, and I'm grateful that we have the leadership in Washington, D.C. that recognizes it, and will make sure that it's working to keep every single community safe, regardless of who's in charge in that city. President Trump gets up every day and will work to keep people safe, whether they're in a red state or a blue state or in a city that has a Republican mayor or a mayor that has a Democratic mayor. He's going to fight for every single American to make sure they live in a safe community and can raise their kids without fear. Yes. Well, that's simply not happening. So it's just not true. We are focused on going after the worst of the worst in every community across this country to make sure that we're making our streets safer. And anyone who is a citizen of this country or is here legally has nothing to fear, has nothing to get out of bed in the morning to be scared of, because we are only enforcing the law. If you are in violation, if you have perverted one of our programs in order to be here illegally, absolutely. You may be held accountable for that action. But that individual and those businesses don't have anything to fear if they're following the law. Sure. I don't think that we're going to see any less people in detention or in immigration court, because we've still got 15 to 20 million people that are in this country illegally. And so if they don't leave on their own voluntarily and partner with us, I'll remind you all, everyone who wants to go home to their country, we will get you a ticket. We will give you $1,000 and we will help you get there. And you get the chance to come back to the United States the right way. If you wait till we detain you, then you'll never get the chance to be an American citizen. So I think that having a secure border is incredibly important, but we will probably still continue to see detainment centers and immigration courts quite full and being utilized extensively because of the devastation that Joe Biden put on this country. By allowing that many people to come into our country unvetted, we have no idea the amount of dangerous criminals that are here. I'll go to you. Yes. Overwhelmingly, the Venezuelans that I've heard from and talked to are excited about the changes that they see in their country. It is never a bad thing to have a murderous, vicious dictator removed from power. They have more opportunities to go back to their country and have it be more successful and provide for their families today than they did a week ago when Maduro was still in charge. So today's a good day, and we'll continue to do all we can to partner with Venezuela to help it be successful. Yes. Oh, nothing's hard about this job. My favorite thing to do is to solve problems and meet challenges. So President Trump and this country are the greatest gifts that I think we have right now, because we were handed a mess. And this country, people are desperate for some hope and some opportunity to remind themselves of what being an American is all about. So I am very blessed every day that I get the chance to get up and work with law enforcement officers, work with people who take an oath to put their life on the line for their fellow brothers, and I absolutely love it. Yes, sir. You know, my understanding is that Hilton has severed their franchise relationship with the owner of the hotel that we saw disrespecting our law enforcement so much. My hope is that hotel owners and franchises across the country would recognize this as an opportunity for them to bless our law enforcement officers. When you see them in your communities, support them, support their families, maybe give them an opportunity to have a chance to stay at your hotel, and maybe make them some eggs in the morning, give them some toast and juice, and shake their hand and pray over them as they go out the door that they'll be safe while they do their work. I know that when you turn on the news every day, it sounds discouraging, but our law enforcement are the perfect example we can point to for our kids of the kind of Americans we should all want to grow up to be like. Yes. Well, all travel... So the State Department always works on all travel documents and flight arrangements for every country when we return individuals back to their homes. We'll continue to do that and let the State Department do that. We have those in detention that may be from Venezuela that will submit their paperwork to the State Department, just like every other individual across the world, and make sure they get home as soon as possible. We'll continue to evaluate every situation in every country and always make sure that we're putting Americans first. You'd have to ask the State Department. Other questions? Yes. Oh, one more? Go for it. You know, I would say that it sends a clear message to the rest of the world that when President Trump says something, he means it, and he'll take action to defend this country. We have been busy communicating that with world leaders, where we've seen a lot of our illegal alien and criminal population come from. I'm grateful that not only do they know that we speak a lot of words and that we try to build relationships, but also if you violate our laws, if you threaten people, and if you don't follow what international law is as well, then there will be consequences. Okay. Oh, yep, last one. I think our law is our law. If there's a congresswoman that has an idea, then absolutely. That's the proper process if she does not agree with where we stand on immigration policy today. Congress is elected to debate and to be thoughtful and to create policy and then vote on it and create statute. If she has an idea, her colleagues in Congress and the White House are more than interested in talking about it and see if it's something that America can get behind. Okay. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.